Less than 2% of the population identifies as INFJ. The rarest of the 16 personality types. That means for every 100 people you meet, maybe 1 or 2 will share this exact wiring. Ni, fe, ti, se. And while INFJs are known for their empathy and insight, they also have triggers, things people say that hit harder than most realize. Sure, the obvious ones are out there. You're too sensitive. Stop overthinking. But here's the thing. There are also underexplored phrases that cut even deeper. The kind of phrases that make INFJs question themselves, doubt their worth, or even retreat into that infamous door slam. So in this video, we're going to unpack them. 10 unique examples of what you should never say to an INFJ. Not the cliches you've already heard 100 times, but the ones that strike at the very heart of their cognitive wiring. Introverted intuition, extroverted feeling, introverted thinking, and even their most vulnerable side, extroverted sensing. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end. Because number 7, that's the one INFJs say almost nobody outside their type truly understands. Number 1, you're too much. This simple phrase can devastate an INFJ. Many INFJs secretly worry that their intensity, whether it's deep emotion, fee, or complex ideas, Ni overwhelms others. Being told you're too much instantly validates that fear and makes them feel like a burden. It implies that their authentic self, with all its passion and depth, is fundamentally excessive or unwelcome, leaving them feeling alienated. Since INFJs put great care into everything they do, thanks to perfectionistic Ni, Tai, and people-conscious Fei, having their efforts dismissed as too much makes them feel worthless. In short, this remark tells the INFJ that their very being is over the top. A painful blow for a type that strives so hard to balance insight and empathy for the people they care about. Number 2, why can't you just be normal? Winkas. An INFJ spends a lifetime feeling a bit different from others. So this question cuts deep. INFJs have a unique Ni vision of the world and often behave in unconventional ways, guided by idealism and intuition. Being urged to be normal suggests that their natural style is flawed and needs fixing. This is essentially a rejection of their identity. Ni makes them see the world differently, and Fei often makes them act on inner values rather than follow the crowd. Hearing this, an INFJ will feel misunderstood and hurt. In fact, one INFJ forum identified "stop and be normal" as an example of what never to say to these types. It's a harsh judgment that prompts them to doubt themselves. Rather than motivating an INFJ, this statement invalidates their perspective and suggests that their authentic self isn't acceptable. The result? They withdraw even further, feeling that the person neither appreciates nor understands their true nature. Number 3, you're so fake, try being real for once. Never accuse an INFJ of being fake. INFJs adapt their outward demeanor to suit different situations and people, a skill driven by their Phi social awareness. But that doesn't mean they're insincere. In fact, psychology experts note that FJ types often get unfairly labeled fake by those who don't have Phi. When outsiders see an INFJ acting like a social chameleon, they assume one of the INFJ's faces must be false, when in reality, all those sides are real. Telling an INFJ you're fake or be real is especially hurtful because INFJs prize authenticity and integrity. Their Ni and Ti functions constantly check that their actions align with their inner values, even if they express themselves differently with different people. One list of INFJ no-nos explicitly includes, "That was fake as hell. Try being real," as something you should never say. Such a comment will infuriate or sadden an INFJ as it implies that their kindness or adaptability is a dishonest act. In truth, INFJs show you different facets of themselves because they genuinely care about connecting. Not to manipulate, calling them fake only signals that you don't understand them at all. Number 4, and how is that relevant to anything we're talking about? INFJs have a roundabout communication style. Their dominant Ni draws connections between topics, and their mind often leaps to big picture contexts or underlying meanings that others might miss. If an INFJ shares an idea or a seemingly tangential insight, a dismissive response like, "How is that relevant?" will sting. It tells the INFJ that their perspective is unwanted and that you think they're off base. In an INFJ forum, and how is this even relevant to the discussion, was literally cited as something not to say. Why? Because such a remark invalidates their intuition. The INFJ likely shared that point for a reason. Their N saw a pattern, or their T analyzed a nuance that is connected even if it wasn't obvious. Brushing it off makes them feel foolish and humiliated. Remember, INFJs spend a lot of time in their head processing information. When they finally speak up, it's usually after careful thought. Dismissing their contribution not only frustrates them, but also discourages them from sharing further. A better approach is to ask how it's relevant. You might learn something new about how the INFJ sees the issue. Number 5, I don't know who you really are. People often say this to INFJs out of frustration, and it hits a nerve every time. INFJs tend to reveal themselves in layers. N keeps their innermost visions private, and Phi makes them cautious about burdening others. They also show different aspects of their personality depending on whom they're with. Not to be deceptive, but to genuinely connect with each person. As a result, others may struggle to figure them out when an INFJ hears, "I feel like I don't know the real you." They often feel guilty and misunderstood. One INFJ described hearing, "I don't know who you really are," from others, and how heavily it weighed on them. To the INFJ, it's disheartening because they likely have been authentic, just selectively so, sharing what they felt was safe or relevant at the time. This comment highlights the INFJ's constant fear that no one will ever truly understand them. It connects to their N and T inner world, which is rich and complex, versus their Fey outer persona, which may seem amiable but doesn't show everything. The truth is, INFJs want to be known deeply, but they open up slowly and often need you to ask specific questions rather than broad ones. Telling them you don't know them, especially in a disappointed tone, only reinforces their sense of isolation. It's far more helpful to be patient and show that you want to know them rather than voicing this phrase. Number 6, you're overthinking it, or it's not that deep. If there's one thing INFJs do a lot, it's think deeply. Their Ni-Tai loop can lead them to analyze situations from every angle, and their Phi makes them consider the impacts on everyone involved. Telling an INFJ that they're overthinking or that something is not that deep will come off as dismissive. Essentially, you're instructing them to ignore their intuition and stop searching for meaning, which is like asking them not to use their dominant function. Nye. In many cases, INFJ's hunches are profound and often accurate, even if they can't fully explain them in the moment. As one source notes, INFJ insights or premonitions that others initially scoff at have a way of being scarily accurate. When you say, "it's not that deep," the INFJ hears that you don't value their perspective or that you think they're imagining things. It's frustrating because connecting dots and reading between the lines is second nature to them. Moreover, this phrase dismisses their emotional investment as well. Often INFJs analyze something deeply because it matters to them or to someone they care about via Phi. A better approach is to ask why they are concerned or what they see, rather than to tell them to shut off their insight. INFJs hate feeling intellectually or emotionally trivialized, so avoid quips that make their rich inner process sound like a flaw. Number 7. Stop trying to save everyone. It's not your job to fix everything. INFJs are sometimes jokingly called the counselors or even heroes among types because they often take on the weight of others' problems. Their auxiliary Fey gives them a strong urge to help, and dominant Ni fills them with visionary ideals of making the world better. Telling an INFJ to quit trying to save everyone will likely be met with a frown, or at least an internal one. To the INFJ, their desire to help isn't meddling. It's a core part of who they are and how they show love and purpose. One article notes that most INFJs always need to have a cause. They'll try to help someone or something in need, even at their own expense. Hearing "you're doing too much" or "it's not your responsibility" will feel like you're belittling their passion and compassion. Yes, INFJs can overextend themselves, often neglecting their own needs due to inferior C. But being chastised for caring deeply only makes them feel unsupported or even ashamed of their empathy. It might also trigger their tie logic to defend their efforts, or their nigh to retreat into grand visions. If I don't try, who will? Instead of this dismissive remark, it's more helpful to gently remind an INFJ to practice self-care while they help others. They respond much better to encouragement to set healthy boundaries than to an order to stop caring. Telling them not to care or fix things is like telling a bird not to fly. It's against their nature and will only cause resentment or sadness. Number 8, you make it difficult to love you. Few phrases could be more crushing to an INFJ than this one. INFJs might be aware that they're not the easiest people to truly get close to. They can be reserved, cautious about whom they trust, and prone to intense mood swings or idealistic expectations. However, they try very hard to be supportive partners and to understand their loved ones deeply. Nigh, being told you're hard to love basically confirms their inner fear that their complexity or guardedness makes them unworthy of love. It's often said that INFJs have heard they're too weird or difficult at least once in their lives, but just because they aren't quick to let their guard down doesn't mean they're truly unlovable. An INFJ hearing this will likely shut down or feel devastated. Their fee takes it as a sign that they've failed to meet the other person's needs, and their knee starts catastrophizing that no one will ever stick with them. In reality, INFJs simply love in a cautious but extremely devoted way. They open up in stages, wanting to be sure the other person will stay for the long haul. Telling them they're difficult to love comes across as a cruel ultimatum. Change yourself or I'm out. Not only is it hurtful, it also ignores the many quiet ways an INFJ probably has been showing love, just not in flashy, extroverted ways. If you truly care about an INFJ, avoid this phrase at all costs. Instead, discuss what you need openly and give them a chance to explain their feelings. Patience and honest communication will unravel their walls far more effectively than guilt-laden accusations. Remember, an INFJ loves to feel seen and accepted. Implying they're nearly unlovable is the surest way to break their heart. Number 9, you wouldn't understand. Never underestimate an INFJ's ability to understand. This phrase is often used to shut someone out of a discussion or to condescend, and INFJs particularly loathe it. With Ni and Fei working in tandem, INFJs are actually quite skilled at grasping complex or personal matters. They absorb emotional cues, feel and read between the lines intuitively. NI, and they apply tie logic to piece together patterns. Being told you just wouldn't understand, perhaps because the topic is technical or the person assumes the INFJ doesn't get how the real world works, will offend and anger the INFJ. It implies they lack either the intelligence or life experience to comprehend the issue, which is usually untrue. In fact, INFJs often surprise people with how much they have already figured out silently. The condescension of this remark is what really gets to them. Sources note that INFJs hate when their intelligence is underestimated or when they're talked down to. If an INFJ asks about your problem, it means they care and likely can handle hearing it. By saying they wouldn't understand, you not only close yourself off to their help, but you also show a lack of respect for their perceptiveness. Even if you think an INFJ might not relate to something, it's more respectful to explain, "It's hard to talk about," or "I'm not ready to discuss it," rather than to assume their comprehension limits. Treat them as the insightful equals they are. You might be surprised by how well they do understand once you let them in. Number 10, just wing it. Live in the moment for once. Spontaneity might be a virtue to some, but to INFJs, it can be a source of stress. This personality's dominant Ni is always scanning the future, and their auxiliary Fei likes to anticipate others' needs. Their inferior function, however, is extroverted sensing. C, which means living in the moment or dealing with sudden changes doesn't come naturally. Telling an INFJ to just wing it or chiding them for always needing a plan is likely to trigger their anxiety or annoyance. INFJs prefer to take their time to mentally prepare and plan things out. They are internal processors who dislike being rushed. When forced into last-minute action, they often feel unsettled or unable to perform at their best. Psychology experts note that INFJs aren't designed to focus on tangible realities or the immediate, minute details for too long. It drains and stifles them. That's why an INFJ friend might get flustered if you insist on an impromptu adventure or drop big decisions on them without warning. A comment like, "Not everything needs a 5-year plan, lighten up," may be intended as friendly teasing, but it comes off as criticism of their natural modus operandi. It's essentially saying, ignore your intuition and careful thought and just go with external stimuli, which is literally asking them to use their weakest function. Instead, if you want an INFJ to loosen up, give them a little advance notice or structure even for fun activities. They can be plenty spontaneous and fun when they feel mentally prepared and safe. But pressuring them with wing it will likely backfire. They'll either retreat from the situation or secretly resent it. Respect that an INFJ finds comfort in planning and foresight, and you'll find they're more willing to step out of their comfort zone gradually. When it comes to interacting with an INFJ, here's the bottom line. Don't dismiss or belittle their feelings, their insights, or their identity. Seemingly small phrases, "It's not that deep," "You're too sensitive," "Just be normal," can land harder than you think because they strike at core INFJ values, feeling understood, valued, and authentic. INFJs are a blend of deep intuition, empathy, analysis, and sensitivity to the world around them. Mock or negate any of those traits, and you're not just hurting them. You're also missing out on the unique wisdom and care they bring. Choose your words with understanding, and maybe even a dash of humor. And you'll not only avoid the infamous INFJ door slam, you'll also gain access to one of the richest inner worlds you'll ever encounter. If this resonated, make sure to subscribe and keep binging the INFJ series here on the channel. Every episode peels back another layer of how INFJs think, feel, and live. Watch next. INFJs and emotional burnout, or the hidden struggles of INFJs at work. Keep going. Because the more you understand INFJs, the more you unlock the heart of this rare personality type.